If you're a DIY painter that prefers Home Depot products, then you may have come across Behr Ultra Scuff Defense. My crew and I just got to try out the semi-gloss version of this product on a recent job, and I've got some insights for you that might help you determine whether or not you should give it a go on one of your next projects. Let's get into it. Yo, what's cracking, folks? Jeremy Vassar here. I'm a professional painter of over 20 years, specializing in interior residential painting of various sorts. And sometimes on our jobs, we get forced to use products we wouldn't use otherwise, and that just happened to us recently. The clients we were working for requested that we use this exact product, which is Behr Ultra Scuff Defense and Semi-Gloss. They wanted that on all of their trim and doors. It wasn't our first choice, but we're like, all right, well, worst case scenario, we will get a review out of it. So here we go. This is Behr Ultra Scuff Defense. It comes in right around $43 a gallon. It is a 100% acrylic latex product, which means it's water-based. And Behr markets the semi-gloss version as follows. This radiant semi-gloss sheen will help you create a sleek, reflective look that brings maximum impact to trim windows and doors, as well as indoor furniture and cabinets. They also go on to highlight the advanced scuff and mar resistance, burnish resistance, easy clean finish, and outstanding durability. All that being said, I'm gonna go over three things that I consider when I'm reviewing a paint product, and that is workability, coverage, and finish quality. And then at the end of the video, I will give you my thoughts on the durability claims of this particular product. All right, let's chat about workability. And when I talk about that, I just mean how the product is to apply. And as the applicator, that makes a huge difference to me, how easy it is to work with and things like that. When you're trying to produce a high quality finish on trim and doors, there are a couple factors in the paint that really can aid you in achieving that goal. If you're using a brush and roller, which is how we applied this product and how most people will be doing that in their homes, there's a couple things you're looking for that contribute to a uniform finish. On your trim pieces like crown molding and baseboard and door frames that are getting brushed, you want those surfaces to look like one long continuous brush stroke and not a bunch of short choppy strokes or an overly brushy look, for lack of a better term. That has a lot to do with the open time of the product, but I will circle back to that when we start talking about finish quality in the third category. And the other thing is when you roll, so if you're gonna roll this on like flat panel doors or something, you want the stipple pattern that comes off of the roller to level out a bit. So it ends up looking way more like a sprayed finish. And that's really what we are looking for in a professional level finish on the jobs that we do. Me personally, I like a generous open time that really contributes to a lot of the things that I just mentioned. And just for reference for kind of this first look / review is we use this product in 3 relatively large rooms that all had new trim. So the baseboard and the crown was new. There's a couple old pieces, but all the doors were new as well. And it wasn't just me that used it. My brother Josh used it as well as my guy Brendan. So this review is a bit of a distillation of all 3 of our experiences cobbled together just for you. So one of the things we noticed right away as we started brushing different surfaces with this product is that it's very loose on the brush. Generally, trim paints will kind of stick a little bit more to your brush, and they're made to be brushed on or rolled or sprayed or whatever. But this product was particularly loose. We noticed a lot of droplets kicking off the bristles, flecking onto other surfaces, the floor and the walls and things like that. So that was interesting. It also was prone to drips. So if you put on a little bit too much in a certain area, it was it didn't seem like you were putting on all that much, but it was very prone to just form drips in places that were unexpected for us. And again, this was our first time using this product, so some of that stuff we could iron out if we adjusted our application process, but it was just something we had to look for that we're not used to looking for. And probably the biggest drawback for me in the workability category is the open time of this product. It started to dry very quickly, so it was quite prone to showing a lot of brush marks. You really couldn't go back into it. And what I mean by that is if you were laying the product down and you start brushing an area, if the area, to your left started to dry, if you came back into it with your brush, it started doing weird things where it would pull up, it got a little bit gummy, and then you just started seeing really choppy brush strokes. I adjusted my application process so that I just never went back into anything. I just kept it going and kept like a wave of paint going across the trim and baseboards and anything I was doing, but you definitely had to be conscientious of it, which is, not something we typically are used to dealing with, particularly with something like emerald urethane trim enamel, which is our kind of go-to current trim paint. Oh, hey, If you're a DIY painter and you're looking to up your skills and learn how to paint like we do, then you're in luck. We've specifically developed a course just for you. It's called Paint Like a Pro, a beginner's guide to interior painting. In the course, you'll discover what tools to buy, paints to use, how to pick colors, prep the room, and apply paint like the professionals. Not only that, if you run into any issues as you tackle projects of your own, you can text us directly in the app and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. It'll probably be me because I have a newborn and I'm barely sleeping. Anyways, if you're interested, check out the link in the description, and now, back to the video. Onward to coverage. Typically when we do a job, we are quoting for 2 coats. I'd recommend doing 2 coats on most of the surfaces that you'll be painting, especially trim and doors for a variety of reasons, but that is our expectation, regardless of what trim paint we're doing, is that we're gonna do 2 coats. And we were going over a lot of factory primed surfaces, like the doors were all factory primed, as well as the crown and the base. Unfortunately, this product did not cover very well. Particularly if it was going over anything that had a scuff on it. There were a couple old pieces of baseboard that had scuffs, and this did not cover those well at all. There was quite a few sections that we had to go over 3 times to get the coverage we were looking for. And then on the doors, we rolled all of those flat panel doors 3 times, which was a bit of a bummer. You could tell a big difference between where it was rolled and where it was brushed. So it just took us a little bit more than we typically do to get them where we wanted them to be. And our third category is finish quality. This is the part that I also care quite a bit about as a professional, that I am trying to provide a certain level of finish on all of my jobs. So the homeowners were very concerned and adamant that they wanted a bright white, and the ultra pure white that this product comes in definitely ticks that box. It is quite bright, very shiny, and what they were looking for in their trim in their house, and I think they had used this in other rooms as well, which is why they wanted to stick with this. That being said, from an applicator's perspective, which is mine, I am looking for a couple things in a high quality finish. A lot of it has to do with how the paint performs as it's drying and how much it levels out. I mentioned a few of them earlier. A lot of it has to do with the open time of the product and how much it levels out as it's drying. When you're looking at your trim, you really want to have a minimal amount of brush strokes on your crown and baseboard, anything that was brushed. A lot of that should level out and fade out as the paint is drying if you've laid it down correctly. Same is true for when you roll doors. That stipple pattern that comes off the roller should really level out quite well, and it should look more like a sprayed finish. If you've ever used something like Advanced or Emerald Urethane Trim Enamel, you know what I'm talking about. Those level out really nicely. The other thing I'm looking for is how friendly the product will interact with the products that we're already using, particularly with how it interacts with our wall paint, because our process, and a quite popular process amongst professionals, is to paint the ceiling and the trim first and then do the walls last. Because of that, we tape the baseboards after we've painted them, and I tape the top lip of the baseboard. That does a couple things. It gives us a clean line when we go to pull tape, but also it protects the baseboard from any of the spatter kicking off the roller as we're rolling the walls. This product struggled in all of those areas that I mentioned. It was drying really quickly as we were laying it down, so you really couldn't go back into it to fix things. You kind of had one shot at it to get it down correctly, and then it just did not level out that much. The brush strokes were kind of just there. We ended up having to sand some stuff down, do 3rd coats on a lot of stuff. The doors, particularly, the stipple pattern barely leveled out. That was something we weren't anticipating, and we used all of the correct nap and everything, even as it specifies on the back of this can. So it was a heavier lift on our part to get the surfaces we painted with this product up to our standards. And then the other thing is pulling tape on this, which I've noticed with products that have the scuff resistant stuff in them, is that when you go to pull tape, if it starts to rip into the trim at all, this will actually peel like a sticker. It'll pull all 3 layers of the paint off of whatever surface it is. So you gotta be really careful when you're pulling tape near this stuff. And so what I ended up having to do is take out my carpenter's blade, and I scored the tape anywhere where I was pulling it. And I was just extra careful because it was a big pain in the butt if it ripped off, because you're ripping through 3 layers of paint, and it takes a lot to make that look good again. Just as a personal tasting note of my own, I noticed that this product particularly felt almost greasy to the touch when it dried. It's a lot different than some of the other paints that I am used to using. That could just be a personal preference, but just something I noticed. If you've made it this far in the video, you might still be curious about the durability claims of this product and ones like it, and I have some thoughts for you. Over the last 5 years or so, it's been pretty popular for companies to release products that are similar to this. You've got Scuff X and Scuff Tough and Scuff Defense, and they are basically specially formulated paints that have increased durability at all the sheen levels. In general, they're slightly harder to work with than other products that don't have those claims, and to me, they these products particularly make way more sense on surfaces like walls, where you're gonna drop the sheen down to eggshell or matte. In general, eggshell and matte are very common to use on the walls, but they're not as durable as a semi-gloss or a gloss paint. And that's really where they make sense. They're a little bit more difficult to use, but not as bad on the walls as they are on trim and doors. But you get the aesthetically pleasing look of a lower sheen with the durability than you otherwise would get from a standard paint. As soon as you jump up to semi-gloss, almost any paint is gonna be fairly durable in that sheen. There's so much sheen in the paint that it's gonna harden way harder than like a lower sheen and be more durable. That's just kind of how it shakes out. And then if you jump up to something like hybrid, like an emerald urethane trim enamel or advanced from Benjamin Moore, those products cure out super hard. They're incredibly durable and they're definitely easier to work with than this guy here. I wouldn't really recommend this for trim and doors, even if you are dead set on using Home Depot, which is totally cool. I like a lot of their stuff. I would move you over to the Behr Marquee in semi-gloss. You're gonna get the durability that you're going for, but that product is much easier to work with, and I think provides again, a better level of finish quality for your buck. Now, if you'd like to see a review of a product that I actually enjoy using, check out my review of Fresh Start Primer from Benjamin Moore right over here. You've probably never heard of it, but it's super awesome. And until next time, y'all take it easy, work smart, and have a good one. Peace.